If you want to watch a movie that fills you with an unexplainable dread and unease to the point where you're alone in your house and you lock all the doors and you still do that number, turning around to check if anybody's behind you, you should watch Session 9. Session 9 is about 5 guys: Gordon, Phil, Hank, Jeff, and Mike. Gordon is the one who's in charge of an asbestos removal company called HEC. I don't know what HEC stands for, and it's really not important, so we're moving along from it. Gordon, who was the mean guy from the Ministry in one of the Harry Potter movies. Who hasn't played in Harry Potter, am I right? Is an older man that has a baby. Like, Gordon's in maybe his 40s or closer to 50s, and he's got this company. His wife and him were having trouble trying to conceive a baby, and he's got a baby and it's got an ear infection. So it starts out much like a low-budget film would, with some nondescript noise music playing in the background, 2 guys in a truck talking and waiting for something. And the thing that's really great about Session 9 is that there's not a lot of, like, sometimes the jump scare isn't scary unless they put in that violin music or that piano music. No, Session 9 may not have a whole bunch of blah jump scares, but it's actually good in the way that it views less is more. Anyway, let's move right along to what it's about. Gordon is having trouble with his wife and his baby, and the business is gonna fold. He has to do the entirety of removing asbestos from Danvers State Mental Institution. And they go through, and Danvers is a big, vast, expansive building. And it once started out as the Spud Murphy type of way, where they were going to be nice to the mentally ill and not subject them to illegal lobotomies and water torture and electroshock therapy. You know, they were going to be good to the mentally ill. So Gordon, and then later when they got too many patients, they were understaffed and over something, I don't know the word, they turned into the Vinegar Cooper people. Lobotomies were being performed on people who just came in for, like, depression. So they've rebuilt it since then, and it's been turned into apartments, but the structural integrity of the apartments is not that great. So let's get back to the movie. In the movie, Hank and Phil are fighting because Hank stole Phil's girlfriend, and he's kind of a dick about it. And Gordon's really done with them fighting like little brats, and Gordon's done with his best friend Phil just trying to use the best friend card, like, why won't you do it for me? Why won't you do this? And there's some tension that starts building up from the beginning, and as they get in the building, it just gets worse. Mike is someone who really should be fired, because Mike opens the demon door. Mike opens the door by, there's something wrong with the circuit breakers, so Mike has to go downstairs and check it because Jeff, Gordon's nephew, is afraid of the dark. And at first I thought, Jeff, don't be a little bitch. Go down and check it. This is your job. And then I was a slave to a job where I did everything anyone wanted, and hashtag not about that life. So now I admire Jeff. And he went down and he checked the breaker, but his curiosity got the best of him. I mean, who wouldn't? Like, white people in scary places. Come on, like, we have to explore. It's in our white people DNA. I don't know what is wrong with us. But anyway, he goes and he finds an old reel-to-reel tape recorder and he listens to the sessions 1 through 9, that's where the title comes in, of Mary Hobbs. Slowly he starts learning about Mary, and you kind of get the feeling, without it being beaten over your head, that the spirit of Mary is still hanging out in Danvers and still in somehow influencing these men. Hank finds a whole bunch of money, like old coins, jewelry, in some incinerator where they obviously just, whatever bodies, whoever died there, they didn't have time to bury them, didn't have the finances, didn't give a shit, whatever. They put them in the incinerator, jewels and everything, which is kind of horrible. Just saying. But maybe that's not what happened, because none of those things look scorched, and you have to run a fire really high to burn a body. There's your macabre fact for the day, and you have to turn it like a log. So if you ever wanted to be working in a crematorium and be a crematoriist, that's what you have to look forward to. So Hank's trying to get out, and one of the weird, this is where all the shit hits the fan. Hank goes back, he loads up a bag full of goodies, and then we're not even like allowed to know. It's just, he sees something, he makes a run for it. Next thing you know, he's like, oh, what happened? And that's it. Now, Phil, who hates Hank because Hank stole his girlfriend, is wanting to believe Hank just up and ran away. So he calls another guy because they got to get this job done in a week or they're not getting a $10,000 bonus. Whoa, that sounds nice right about now. $10,000 I don't have to pay back or do dirty deeds for. Phil believes that Hank just up and ran off into the sunset, and Gordon's not so convinced. Now, this was in 2001 when not everybody had a cell phone. In a lot of ways, this movie still holds up, and that's the one way that it does not hold up. But I'm not CinemaSins here, bitch. I'm not. I believe this movie could be remade today, and with the exception of the cell phones, this movie could be remade shot for shot with like Patrick Wilson and Bradley Cooper and maybe Tom Cavanaugh, who knows, and Tom Felton. And I'd be okay with that. Maybe they work at a place where, you know, like, they don't have service. Let's move along. Enough Dreamcast shit. Shit starts going out of control. And now I'm not going to say any more about what's going on, but I am going to give you the best scene and the worst scene, and I'm preparing to talk about the worst scene because it's gross. It's not bad because of any bad acting or anything. I actually admire an actor that can conjure up saliva, but saliva grosses me out. So there's a scene where Gordon's fixing one of his wounds and there's a lot of drool coming out of his mouth, and that's all I'm going to talk about because I'm going to get sick if I keep talking anymore. That's the worst scene, mainly for that part. It's worse than Crispin Glover's snot in Willard. Ugh. The best scene is when Jeff, the nephew, who's afraid of the dark, sees Hank. He tries to convince the others that Hank is here and that his fingers are bleeding or something's wrong, and they don't believe him, and they're always so mean to him. Like, they call him a retard. It's just, which was, of course, one of those things that if they remade the movie now, they'd have to cut out that word. They're just really, really mean to him. And so they don't believe him because he's a stupid little mullet man. And then they hear the footsteps above him, and they're like, it's Hank. Now, all of that builds up to the generator going out, and then Jeff is running for his life, and it's like in Mario Brothers or Zelda or something where Zelda's running across the bridge while the bricks slowly fall behind him, only he's down this long creepy tunnel that's creepy with the lights on, and he's looking for Hank, And then he starts noticing the generator's going to go out, and he's running, and all the lights are going out behind him. And I had a hard time finding out what the best scene was. I immediately found the worst scene, and that was even, like, anybody else probably wouldn't mind. But I had a hard time finding the best scene because there are so many good scenes, but just the fear of that, being alone in some creepy place like that, and God only knows what's going on, and you're with a bunch of mentally unhinged men, and you've got to run. Oh, and you can't breathe in too deep because there's asbestos everywhere. So, yeah, it was like one of the high-tension moments of the film where the actor and the effects carried the movie a lot better than shaky cam, crappy editing, annoying jump scare music, or anything like that ever could. All in all, I give this movie a 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said in the intro, it made me feel uneasy. And fun fact, when I went to like the movie on Facebook, it had 100,666 likes. Yeah. Also, and he has a small part, Larry Fassbender? I'm going to get into more of his movies later. He and Walter Goggins are like the ultimate ugly creepos that have so much charisma to where they're like, yeah, we're not very attractive, so we're going to be in movies like this because that's how we know we're going to make money. And I'm going to review a Larry Fassbender movie called We Are Still Here that I loved from beginning to end. I'm going to have to watch it again so I'm more refreshed, but even in that tiny little part that he had at the very end, he still was pretty good. And if you watched any of my other videos, you know what the 5 stars are. They all apply. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you later.